What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, guys, I'm here to bring you the weekly Berserk 2016 episode review. In today's review, we are covering episode 8. So without further ado, let's get this started. So with this week's episode of Berserk, we continue off where we left off in last week's episode, and we see that Guts, Casca, and the gang are still residing in the cave in which the Heretics' lair is located at, and we also see that the Holy Iron Chain Knights are there as well. They are trying to fight off the Heretics, and Farnice is just freaking out because now Guts is back in action. She now sees, that the Black Swordsman has returned, and due to the previous events that ended up going down with Farnice and Guts in the past, she really does not like the Black Swordsman at all, so obviously this is provoking her, and even Serpico is like, yo, the commander is getting all flustered just because of this one dude. What exactly happened to you and the Black Swordsman? While Isidro tries to get the two girls, Casca and Nina, to escape, we have Guts end up battling the pseudo-apostle known as, the goat, the big, giant goat-like creature thing. And I gotta say, when it came to that fight, I'll be completely honest with you, I thought it was pretty good. The camera needs a little bit of work. We will get to the camera in a bit, but when it came to the camera in that fight sequence of, Guts and the Beast, that scene was actually pretty well. I mean, it could have been better, of course, but it was still pretty decent to look at. It did end fairly quick, but then again, it felt really quick in the manga as well. Now, while Isidro tries to help the two girls escape out of the cave, being Casca and Nina, obviously, we have Guts end up facing off against a pseudo-apostle, this beast-like creature, this goat, that we ended up seeing previous episodes ago in the Heretic lair. Now, this fight scene that ended up going down in this episode of Berserk, I'm going to be 100% honest with you, it could have been a lot better. But I'm also going to be honest with you on how I felt about the said battle, and I thought that it was actually not half bad. I thought it was decent. Yes, it could have been better. The camera does need a little bit of work, and we're going to talk about the camera in a little bit. But you could tell that the animation studio actually went in on that said fight scene. It could have been a lot better, of course, but it was decent. Simply put, it was a battle between Guts and a pseudo-apostle, and that was pretty cool to look at. I thought it was decent, and I just thought it was very enjoyable to watch, just like all of Guts' battles with, these so-called demons. Now, the thing that irked me was while we know that Isidro is trying to evacuate Casca and Nina out of the cave, we then see Guts go out of the cave, and we see that Serpico is now standing in front of Guts' way in order for him to progress to actually meet up with Isidro and the girls. Now, this little so-called, I guess, fight scene that ended up playing out, I mean, in the manga, it was good. But in the anime, oh my god, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you again, the camera angles on this specific scene were just mind-boggling bad. I mean, you have the camera angles rotating to different perspectives of Guts and Serpico. You're going up, you're going down, lowering, especially that one scene when Serpico, ends up losing his blade, and he then goes under Guts to the back of him, and how the camera played out, it was just zoom, I don't know, it just felt very shaky, and you just have the camera just going all to these different places, trying to make the scene very dramatic, when, honestly, the whole camera shaking and, going up and down and shit just felt out of place. I'm like, you're using too much of this. calm down. The camera angles, you barely even used any camera angles in the fight scene between the goat-like creature and Guts, which is probably why I didn't get a headache while watching it, but with this scene, I got a headache. Anyways, the whole reason why Serpico is standing into Guts' way and actually posing a challenge for Guts, and we know that Guts can't end up fighting back against this little shimmy that they are trying to get across. You know, Guts has a big sword. He cannot, you know, freaking whip that shit out and, you know, try to, you know, swing that sword. And he probably wouldn't even be able to hit Serpico because Serpico has a short blade and he is very agile. However, when it comes to Guts, Guts relies on brute force, and he does have a big, long sword. Yes, but he doesn't have room enough to, you know, swing that shit across. He could probably end up going straight down, but I mean, Serpico can probably just jump on Guts' sword, kind of like how Griffith did, and then just have his rapier and just, you know, stab Guts in the eye or some shit, you know. But the whole reason why Guts is standing into Serpico, or Serpico is standing into Guts' way is because of the fact that he feels as though Guts is provoking the commander, Farnese, too much, and simply put, you know, just causing her too much trouble and causing her to stress out and everything. And we know that Serpico is a very loyal soldier to Farnese, and he is willing to do, you know, pretty much anything for the sake of her protection. And that's the whole reason why Serpico wants to kill Guts. Now, the sad part of the episode is when we see that Casca and Nina end up getting captured by the Holy Iron Chain Knights, and they are riding down towards the Tower of Conviction, in which Nina and Casca will be held captive at for the time being. And we see that Isidro, you know, ended up failing his mission to Guts because he said that he will protect Casca and Nina to the best of his ability, but pretty much he ended up failing his mission right there on the spot. And of course this enrages Guts, but he ends up letting go of Isidro, and it's just like, you know what, this is why I can't trust people, so I'm going to be the one that handles things from here on out. But we also see that, you know, this is giving a little bit of characterization towards Isidro as well, because, you know, as Guts, Isidro, and Aluka are actually heading to the Tower of Conviction to, you know, get Casca and Nina back, we see that Isidro is, you know, saying in his head that he is going to make up for his mistakes. So we do see that Isidro is going through a little bit of characterization within this arc. And as we see that Guts, Luca, and Isidro are heading to the Tower of Conviction, something is on top of the tower, and we see that it is in fact the so-called demon that was in the Heretic's Cave a few episodes ago, and actually has been foreshadowed in these coming episodes, and was also foreshadowed in the beginning of this episode, as we see eyes in this episode. Just eyes. We've only seen just eyes, you know, throughout these few episodes of Berserk, but we're like, you know, what exactly are those eyes like? We know that it is a demon, but what exactly is it? Right now, we're not exactly sure. But what we do see from that demon is that on top of that tower, it has the shape of a behemoth. However, it looked like it had legs, so yeah. And of course, we revert to the perspective of Casca and Nina by the end of this episode, and we see that they are being held up in a cellar within the tower, and we see that Nina is just freaking out because she thinks that, you know, she is pretty much going to be dead at this point, and she's saying that all these bad things are happening to her because of the fact that she ended up meeting Elaine, or Casca. And I just gotta say, Nina, you know, you are the most cowardest person I know in the series of Berserk. Like, you are just so quick to judge, and you just cower away from pretty much everything. Like, I'm really interested if, you know, I'm still not caught up with Berserk, but I have read a lot of chapters since this episode, and I gotta say, I really hope that she goes through some development, you know, into which she's actually going to be able to stand up for herself, because from what we have seen right now regarding these episodes of Berserk, and from what I've seen in the manga, you know, Nina is just a cowardice bitch. Excuse my language, but her character just really irks me, and I just really want to see her go through some character development into which she is actually going to be able to stick up for herself and stop putting the blame on others and, you know, just acting as a coward. But with that said, we end up seeing that one of the henchmen of Father Mozgus ends up going into the cellar and is about to take Casca, but then is like, no, wait, I want you, Nina, because what you just showed me, that, you know, your friend was about to be taken away, and you did nothing about it. You just were just thinking about yourself the whole time, the protection of yourself, the safety of yourself. That is very coward-like of you, like I have mentioned before, and the guy says he pretty much doesn't like that at all. You know, he despises those type of people, so he grabs Nina instead, and then we see that he is directing her to the torture room, which we see at the end of this episode. And I gotta say, the torture scene that we saw in this episode, it wasn't nearly as graphic as what you see in the manga. Like, I remember this one scene in the torture room at the final panel of that scene that we see with Nina entering into the torture room. Like, there was this one, like, individual panel with this wrench, and there's a body next to it. Like, I don't even want to say it. Basically, you anime onlys, if you want to see a more grotesque version of what you saw in this week's episode of Berserk, just read the manga to Berserk, and once you get to that chapter, you're gonna be like, holy shit. But yeah, next week's episode of Berserk should be pretty interesting. We have 4 more episodes of Berserk 2016 left. From any of you who know from my last week's episode review that Berserk 2016 will be scheduled for 12 episodes. That is indeed a fact. We don't know at this given point in time if they are going to cover a second half of Berserk 2016, maybe for another season. We don't really know. We don't have any confirmation of that at the moment. Maybe by the end of this season of Berserk, we most likely will hear some news on it, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, it seems like, you know, these past few episodes have been a lot of build-up to what's about to go down in these next few episodes of Berserk. So this is pretty cool to see. I'm really interested to see what's going down with, you know, the whole, you know, demon-like creature, you know, that looks like a behemoth. You know, I'm very interested in that. Like, as far as my overall opinions on this episode, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. It was decent. It wasn't half bad. My overall feelings towards the series, like I stated before, I'm not 100% sold on this adaptation of Berserk. There are many things that really irk me. It had a rough start in the beginning, and, you know, I just don't really like the way on how this adaptation has been held. But, you know, this is the only adaptation that we are probably going to get of Berserk for a very long time. So, you know, I just gotta take what we have of it and enjoy it to the best of my ability. And there are actually some parts in this adaptation in which, you know, I really have enjoyed. There have actually been a few good moments in this adaptation. And I just hope, you know, you Berserk fans out there, while you probably feel the same way as I do, I really hope that this adaptation has been, you know, giving you a little bit of enjoyment as you have been watching these episodes. So yeah, let me know your overall opinions on what you thought about this episode, and of course, what do you think of Berserk 2016 so far? And if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like. It always helps out the channel. And if you want to stick up to date to my future content on this channel, please hit that red subscribe button below, and you will never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys. I love you all. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you next week in Berserk episode 9 review. See you guys next time.